Hey, it's Steven Universe Future, episode 5, titled Bluebird, which is all about the necessary act of just believing someone that you've known for a good long time and kind of going with your gut sometimes, but also sometimes it's just sticking to your principles. It takes a little bit of everything, honestly. So as we start the episode, we see that Steven is more or less filming a promo for Little Homeworld, showing off the various aspects and appeals that can actually come with just coming to Little Homeworld, what they can learn by going there. They can learn to be more artistic rather than destructive, like Lapis Lazuli. They can learn to cultivate things and um, Earth instead of basically just sapping it of life like Peridot. They can learn to kind of find their center with Garnet. There's all these possibilities at Little Homeworld. And I just kind of love the way he's filming this and all. Like a very old-timey kind of TV commercial. However, we see that someone is trying to prank Steven, TPing his car and, putting a tell me I smell good sign on his back and switching his juice box out with tomato soup, which he loves, by the way. So it's like they know how to prank him, but are doing all of it in a more roundabout helpful way to a certain degree, like they don't quite get the gist of what an actual prank is. However, we end up seeing that there's also a welcoming party for a new gem, namely Bluebird Azurite. And if you hadn't already guessed from seeing this character in promos and stuff like that, Steven immediately puts the dots together that this is a fusion of Aquamarine and Eyeball the Ruby. And, Steven is immediately alarmed by this, despite how friendly Bluebird acts, and even giving him various different items such as peanut butter, grass, and clams, which all represent various different allergies, I'm pretty sure. Like, nut allergies. I'm pretty sure Steven had an allergy to pollen at some point, which I have a pollen allergy, but honestly, just picking up some grass isn't gonna affect it that much, so it's just kind of like whatever. And shellfish for the clam, so it's just kind of like just very roundabout things. Like Bluebird is just kind of testing out what gets under Steven's skin. And Steven brings everybody into the bathroom yet again, just like in the Rosebuds episode, to basically just tell them about the situation, which they kind of already gauged that it was the combination of the two, Aquamarine and Ruby, but they kind of just figured that maybe they wanted to become better. See, it's unfortunate because it's the crystal gems, like not listening to Steven yet again, but this time around they're taking Steven's approach, whereas Steven would always try to redeem people, even their worst enemies. But it's actually pretty interesting that Steven is the one this time around being like, no, they're monsters, they're here to take me down. They can't be redeemed. Like, it's an interesting juxtaposition, all things considered. But Bluebird continues to try to be nice, but it still comes off as passive aggressive meanness. Like holding a knife behind Pearl's back, but it's actually to cut a cake. Wrestling or grappling with Garnet, but it's actually Garnet and her just trying out new yoga poses, putting these weird squiggly drawings of Steven in his chip bag, only for it to be revealed that it's actually Amethyst drawings. And, Bluebird encourages Amethyst to continue drawing more. And we even hear screams coming from Greg's van, only for it to be Greg and Bluebird watching some horror movies. So Steven gets to the point where he just ignores it for the most part because it's never what he expects it to be. So Steven just kind of accepts it and rolls with the punches, even waking up with an obvious graffiti on his face, with it being very obvious who it's from, but he just rolls with it. He even rolls with finding Greg's van driven in from the warp pad. Like, he just kind of keeps going with it because it's never what it appears to be, but it kind of feels like it's what it appears to be once he finds Bluebird dangling Greg off the roof, with Aquamarine and Eyeball revealing themselves to Steven to much shock and awe. But honestly, he just says, "Yeah, we knew. We all knew. Everybody knew." Nobody really confronted you about it because they're just nice. Like, we're all just nice like this. But Aquamarine and Ruby end up threatening Greg because they want Steven to just basically just destroy his life. Like, they just want to passively aggressively go at him for the most part. Telling him to burn down little homeworld, destroy his house, bubble all his friends and all that good stuff. It's just really just mean things because they still are angry that they feel that Steven tricked everyone, but it's just like, no, no, he didn't. He didn't. He didn't have to trick anyone. Like, you're not giving your diamonds enough credit if you think he tricked anybody. But Greg has had enough, and he does the unthinkable. He cuts his hair. Like, that was the real shock of this episode. Greg cutting his hair. Like, yo, with a mane like that, I would have rather died. I'm sorry. If I had that luscious amount of hair, I would have been like, y'all can just kill me. Y'all could just kill me. No, no. How dare you? How dare you do this to this beautiful man? But and I feel Greg's pain. I feel Greg's pain because it's not the same without his hair. It's just not the same. And even Steven erupts in anger and goes at Bluebird, well, at Ruby and Aquamarine. However, they end up not being able to refuse again because they're just so uncoordinated. And Steven tries to tell him that, look, fusing for the reasons you did, it isn't the right path. You need to be fusing for a reason, for a purpose, because of love or an understanding or caring. But they actually end up fusing because they just find Steven just so annoying. Like, with all of his speechifying, it's just like they rekindle their hatred for Steven in the moment. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. It's just like, you just don't like Steven. And that's all there is to it. However, Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl come out and find, Bluebird going at Steven. Bluebird tries her best in order to play it off, only for them to fuse into Alexandrite and immediately crush the two of them out of their fusion. However, they make their escape like friggin' Team Rocket, swearing that they'll always be out there hating Steven, with everyone just kind of taking it in that, yeah, there're just some gems that just hate Steven, and there's no real turning them around. But there's no big loss there for Steven. The real loss is to Greg, which he feels absolutely terrible about. But Greg's just glad that Steven stuck to his principles about just giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, even when he knew outright that they didn't really deserve it. Steven at the end of the day was the bigger person, and we give a fond and tear-filled farewell to Greg Universe's hair. The tragedy. I can't look, man. I can't look. It's so sad. It's so sad. But a great loss aside, how did you feel about this episode? How did you feel about the message that we should still at least make the attempt for those that we know don't really deserve our best foot forward. Because Bluebird didn't deserve it, but, in the end, Steven still tried. You know, Yes, he jumped to a lot of conclusions, but they were the right conclusions because Steven has a great intuition. But he fought against his better judgment because he still wanted to at least trust the judgment of his friends. It's just unfortunate that his friends were wrong. Like, I have mixed feelings about this episode because it's just like, no, Steven was right not to trust them. He was completely right not to trust them. Nothing like, had it not been for all the pranks that Bluebird as a right pulled beforehand, we might have kind of rolled with it. But with everything that Bluebird did, the passive aggressive nature of it all, because ultimately that's all it is. While Aquamarine is very threatening, Eyeball is very much not threatening as a Ruby. So it's always these kind of, yes, there's malicious intent behind it, but it's always kind of like, yeah, but it's not done maliciously enough to actually have caused Steven any harm. The closest they got was threatening his dad, which is just kind of like a bit of a no-brainer. It's just like, you want to hurt Steven, go after his family. At least with his dad, it's the one person they could threaten. But tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. Did you feel this was a good episode? I'm kind of mixed. I kind of feel like it was a bit of a waste of an episode, especially because we had to lose Greg's hair this way. Oh, God. But at the same time, I like bits and pieces of it. It just felt a little bit lesser than in comparison to other episodes. But hey, if you like this video, leave me a like and subscribe, do the bell, whatever. I ain't your daddy. Do whatever you like. But I hope you'll join me for the next episode. And until then, take care. Bye bye.